Morning.
We're going to ask everybody to mute your microphones, please. And we will start in just a moment.
You're still coming in.
Steve, go ahead and mute your microphone.
I can't see him quite yet. I'm still letting him in.
There you go. Thank you, Steve. Rhonda, if you'll let me know when we've got everybody in. It's going to take a moment to get everybody in. We have a nice attendance today, so we'll be starting in just a moment.
Just 2 more right now.
Okay, then I think we'll go ahead.
Okay.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us for the Fall 2020 Optiforum. Today, we will be addressing the issue of resilience in clubs. As you know, we all had expectations when the pandemic began, and many clubs thought we would wait and it would be over soon. And now we find ourselves 9 months later still trying to overcome a lot of obstacles that we did not expect. So today's forum will be to address those issues. Before we get started, I would like to ask Melissa to make an announcement in French because we have simultaneous French translation for our French-speaking audience. Go ahead, Melissa.
Bonjour. Pour écouter la réunion en français, s'il vous plaît, cliquez sur le globe en bas de l'écran. Ensuite, cliquez sur français. Merci.
Thank you. And we'll make that announcement again in a few minutes just to reinforce that people who are coming in late. My name is Mark Weinstoff. I'm the president of Optimist International, and I'm so pleased that you're able to join us today. As I was mentioning earlier, we found as this year has been progressing that more and more clubs are finding it difficult to find ways to serve their community and relate to each other in the virtual world that we find ourselves in due to the pandemic. So a lot of clubs have been successful, and we've brought many good examples of how to be successful as a club in these difficult times for you. And that is the purpose of this forum. Now, we also will be producing a guide in form for members of our organization who are not as able to get online and find these things in the world of technology. So for those who would like a written copy, we will be providing that, and you can we'll let you know how it'll be delivered. But we also are encouraging our governors and our lieutenant governors to reach out to all of the clubs and determine who's a written copy for us. So we will find a way to deliver one to you, and the finished field guide will be produced in about a week or so following this Optiforum. So again, I thank you for joining us. What we're going to do is we have a series of people we're going to bring forward to discuss topics related to how to be successful in these times. And we are going to focus on the financial issues that clubs face, how to meet and interact and build relationships with each other, and how to serve the community in new ways. And that will include even some virtual fundraising and things like that. So I thank you for joining us today. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with the financial aspects of what happens in these times. And to start us off, I have our Chief Financial Officer for Optimist International, Connie Pellock, and she's going to talk about funding sources that you may not be aware of that you can look for to help when you're struggling with finances.
Thank you, President Mark. And indeed, I am honored to be a part of today's valuable and educational Optiforum. And I want to say a warm hello to all of my fellow distinguished, wonderful Optimist friends out there today. And take this opportunity to say thank you to every Optimist participating in this call today. It's your caring ways, it's your compassionate hearts. It is all of the great things in your positive attitude that you're sharing in your community that is putting smiles on people's faces during this difficult time. So I commend you for what you do, and hope that you will gain some insight from this morning's forum. To Mark's question about what resources are out there for our Optimist clubs, there are three areas that I am going to make recommendations about to help you. And the first is partnering and collaborating with other nonprofits in your local community. We are all in this together. We are all interconnected, and during a pandemic, it just heightens how much we need each other. So don't hesitate to reach out to other local nonprofits. They're facing the same hardships, same challenges that we're facing. And when we work together, we can come up with creative ways to find solutions. And as you'll hear today, some of the clubs have even been able to expand their services during this difficult time. So my first thought is partnering. The second recommendation is to seek out grant funds for your charitable projects. There are community foundations around the world that have dollars available to help nonprofits with their charitable works. In the US alone, these community foundations have pledged over $1 billion to help nonprofits. And the community foundations are located worldwide. And as part of the field guide that Mark mentioned, I have pulled together links to help clubs find local foundations. And not only are they giving more support than we've ever seen in at least during my lifetime, they are reducing a lot of the restrictions they have on procuring their grant funds. So some of your local foundations where in the past you might not have been eligible to qualify for grant funds, you may find today that those monies are there and available to your club for your projects. And then the third area that I want to mention is going to the Canadian Children's Optimist Foundation and the Optimist International Foundation. Those foundations are your foundation. They are there to help you. They're there to help you with these grant funding requests. Frequently in the US, our clubs encounter when they're trying to apply for a grant an obstacle that the funder will only support a 501c3 charity. Most of our clubs in the US are 501c4s. By working with the foundation and with their pass-through grant program, you get the benefit of a 501c3 charity. And in Canada, you gain the benefit by working with the Canadian Children's Optimist Foundation through their outsourcing program. So Both foundations have great websites with information about the programs that they have, and they're an excellent resource. So in summary, the 3 recommendations I have is partner and collaborate with other groups in your community, seek out grant funds for your charitable projects, going to local community foundations. That's more than likely where you'll find your most success. And thirdly, don't forget about the resources that CCOF and OIF have out there for you. And I am convinced that working together, our Optimist clubs will overcome this challenging time and be even stronger at spreading optimism in the future.
Thank you, Connie. I appreciate that. Benny, I'm going to give you a heads up to unmute yourself. I'm going to come to you in a minute, but I would like to make 2 announcements. First, if you are a viewer and not a panelist, please stop your video, because that will help the live stream, because we have a lot of people connected. So I think our live stream will be smoother if we have less video participants. And then before I go to Benny, I would like to ask Melissa Cohen to give our announcement for our French-speaking audience.
Bonjour. Pour écouter la réunion en français, s'il vous plaît, cliquez sur le globe en bas de l'écran. Ensuite, cliquez sur français. Merci.
Thank you, Melissa. And now, if I might call on our Executive Director of Optimist International, Benny Ellerby, could you talk to us? We build clubs still on a regular basis, and sub-clubs are finding it that their financial situation is difficult. Do you have some advice for clubs that are worried about paying their dues?
Thanks, Mark. Good morning, everybody, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Appreciate the opportunity. We have a lot of clubs. My club, we have a lot of clubs that are right now under financial distress. Our clubs aren't able to raise funds, or their normal fundraisers. Let me say that a lot of clubs can't do their normal fundraisers right now. So some clubs don't collect dues, which is kind of surprising. But some of the members have been laid off. Some of the members have right now have lost their jobs due to COVID. So we're under distress from several different angles. I do want to say, though, I think in my club, sometimes you have to reimagine the projects you're doing. Still a turn from last year. We're doing I'm seeing a lot of online virtual projects like virtual trivia. And I'll give you an example, a trivia night. If you have 100 people who pay $10 for simple trivia night, can raise $1,000 for your club. So think first out of the box, how to reimagine. We have 288 people online today. We would not have done this maybe 2 years ago. We would not have imagined a Optiforum where 300 club presidents and leaders would come together on a virtual platform. So reimagine how we serve the public. But when you come to the dues situations, if you do have an issue in your club, call me. I answer my phone. People know that. If you have an issue, give me a heads up quick. Let me know that your club's under distress, and we will work individually with each club. We haven't done a blanket policies because many clubs are different. My club, luckily, we're fairly a wealthy club, but a lot of the clubs right now aren't having good days, and we know that. So if your club has a due situation, call me before the issue becomes crisis rather than later. We know all clubs are facing this. I will say to district governors out there, I've seen some districts now that have had huge piles of cash in their district surplus funds actually do some district refunds. I know that's going on in a couple of districts that have $40,000, $50,000. Every district can't do that, but I've seen a couple of districts that actually try to help their clubs that way. And I do, and Mark's going to shoot me right now, but don't carry any dead weight right now. If you have a member who's not participating, who's not paid their dues, don't renew them just because. That's another financial burden on your club. So be smart, but don't forget to recruit. Recruiting is key. There's a lot of folks out there that right now that are at home. they need some outlets, and we need to provide those outlets to them. So be proactive. It's a tough time for everyone, but it's a time to rethink things and strive the way a little different. And the online platform right now is working really well. So as today, 288, last time I checked, 288 people online. Wouldn't have dreamed of that a couple of years ago. So be creative in your home club and let's thrive and survive. Thanks,
Thank
President
you.
Mark.
Thank you, Benny. We're going to touch on many of these subjects today. So that's the purpose of our field guide, is to help you do some of the things that Benny has just spoken about, like virtual fundraising and virtual meetings to build the relationships with the members within your club. We're going to go next to Megan Lewis, who is in addition to being an Optimist, is the Public Information Officer for the City of Independence, Missouri. And Megan, what I would like to ask you is, what should we consider when planning our gatherings?
So a lot of what we should consider is what our local rules are first and foremost. So all of our local governments, our cities, our counties, states, province, or country may have guidelines that we should follow as optimists when we're thinking about our meetings or events. So that can be gathering sizes, that can be social distancing requirements, that can be prohibiting all gatherings altogether. So please pay attention to those local guidelines. They are changing rather quickly and may be updated from week to week, even day to day, as case numbers changes in your area. Another thing that we really need to consider is the health of our members, our family that those members go home to, and the people that they care for. So COVID is very quick to spread. So one person that has COVID is estimated to infect at least 3 other people, and that adds up very quickly. So always think about those bubbles and how they overlap when you're looking at your members, the families that they go home to, and the people that they care for. When you're looking at your meetings, you also need to think about what safety measures can you regularly implement and also make sure are followed. So masks and social distancing are 2 of our most important right now as we wait for those vaccines to become more regularly available to the public. But if members are not able to or willing to wear a mask, you might want to look at other options for your meetings. Then let's look at the risks that are available. So there are different levels of risk, from no risk to very high risk for our meetings. A no risk meeting that you could have right now is a Zoom meeting, just like this one. So nobody is together, you're not breathing the same air, you don't have to wear masks, you don't have to worry about social distancing. That's a no risk option. A low risk option is meeting outside and wearing masks and social distancing. This isn't necessarily feasible for some of our clubs, particularly in Canada in December. I'm not sure that you guys are going to want to have that in a blizzard, but outside options, if the weather is available, that is a lower risk option. Medium risk. Anytime we start bringing people indoors, your risk level increases. And we know right now with cold weather and other flu seasons already a part of this, when we bring people inside, people get sick. So medium risk is meeting indoors, wearing masks, and social distancing. High risk, if you are having meetings where you are taking your masks off at all or not social distancing, you have elevated the risk of everybody in that room. So while 6 feet is a good number to keep people apart for social distancing, we are finding more and more that COVID-19 can be found in the air a long time after individuals have left a room. So it's not necessarily just 6 feet. It can be hours later, and it has been found to survive on human skin for up to 9 hours after exposure to the virus. So there's a lot of pieces of risk when you guys are thinking about bringing people together for your meetings or your events. And then finally, what can you do to help? The biggest thing that we can do right now is wear a mask when we are in public spaces. So if you are physically able to wear a mask, that is a tremendous help to all of our healthcare workers out there right now. Limit unnecessary errands and gatherings. We all want to see our families. We all want to give people that we love a hug. Right now, that is not the best option. And the more that we get together, the more that we bring people together, the higher the impact is on our healthcare workers and our hospitals. In Missouri last week, our ICU capacity was 19%. That's all we had left in the state as an estimate right now. So every time you have those gatherings, even if you may not be sick, you may be spreading it to somebody because you may not know. So we have to think about those gatherings. If you are sick, please, please, please stay home. If you do not want to get tested, that's fine. We encourage everyone that is able to access testing to get tested so that we know and then can contact trace from that individual. But we need everybody to work together, and staying home when you're sick, even if it's not COVID, if it's the stomach flu or a just regular cold, it helps keep everybody healthier right now. And when possible, get the vaccine. If we can have club members do a campaign to show everybody getting the vaccine together and help encourage their community members to get vaccinated, that is a tremendous help to us in the public health field and to the local governments that are trying to help. To get back to normal, the normal that we want to be, we need 70% of the population to get the vaccine. That's 70% of the entire global population to get the vaccine. We are not near capacity for that yet. We don't have enough vaccines actually available to that, but over the next few months, they will become available. So I encourage you to work with your local doctors, your local governments to find an opportunity to get vaccinated if it's right for you. Some of the vaccines may not be the right version for you, and you need to look at all the different pieces there, but there's a lot of things to consider, and I'm happy to answer any questions as we go throughout.
Thank you. Thank you, Meg. We're going to move next to our Optimist International Vice President from the Southeast region and a past governor from the Caribbean District and an administrator at the University of West Indies, Mona, Patrick Prendergast.
Thank you. Thank you very much, President Mark. And it's a nice follow. It's a nice follow-up from Megan, I would say. One of the ways in which I've been able to navigate the period of the pandemic really is by adopting a local campaign that's called Let the Protocols Work. What does that mean really? It means recognizing that life must go on, but safely so, as Meg said. It means taking even more seriously the guidelines that are related to all that was mentioned: physical distancing, washing your hands, outdoor activities versus indoors, avoiding crowds, and of course, wearing a mask. But it also means developing an appreciation for the fact that every action that you take to protect yourself is about protecting others, and it's preserving as best as possible the overall health of the environment in which we have to live and we have to work and we have to play. So I want to draw, though, your attention to something that is very critical that Megan mentioned in terms of building our resilience and learning to live and work and play with in a COVID-19 world. And it's very straightforward, I would say. You know, I encourage you to remain engaged with the health authorities. These are officials at the local level, at the city level, at the national, federal level. These are professionals who are using the science to set the guidelines, but they're also developing proper mechanisms for monitoring. And I think that is very, very important. Monitoring what you're doing, monitoring how people are living and how people are coping. In my own experience with hosting what I love to call a hybrid face-to-face virtual conference recently, I found it quite effective and efficient to work with the health authorities. What it means really is that they will approve your event. I find that you're more likely to meet the agreed standards if the authorities are involved. For example, they ensure proper setup of the physical site for gathering, including giving due consideration to the use of microphones. They ensure proper measures for contact tracing. Contact tracing is very, very important if anything negative were to happen. So ensure that the contact tracing is done with due consideration to public perception and attitudes towards the disease. And that's very, very important. A major factor in managing any crisis is communication. What does quarantine mean? Isolation, community spread. If you're going to let the protocols work, then you want to always be taking informed decision and action. So contact with the health authority will also help you to get the right information out there. Anything about your event, you want it to be clear. You want it to be the right information. Any activity you're having, you want to ensure that you're not creating misinformation or spreading the wrong information or worse, creating unnecessary panic. So safety first is really about communication. For example, all the information about the activity or the event, whether that's in print or electronic or internet-based, could carry a shield of approval or a safety first statement, and you need to place it in such a way that it cannot be missed. Again, the local health authority can help with getting it right. So whether you're in Barbados or Canada or Bagmati or Florida or Montego Bay, most cities or communities have a local health authority or agency which can help you. And I know, President Mark, we could look at adding to the field guide some kind of a local contact information listing, because I think it's important for us to make that connection. I think building resilience is about engaging with the authorities, doing and learning and applying lessons learned for a better and stronger recovery is what we're about. So I would say, let the protocols work, but promise yourself safety first. That's how I would make the link to Meg's presentation, President. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. We will be moving on to a different category now about, but before we do, I'd like to bring Melissa, who is actually our next presenter, but to make the announcement for our French speakers one more time, please.
Bonjour, pour écouter la réunion en français, s'il vous plaît, cliquez sur le globe en bas de l'écran. Ensuite, cliquez sur français. Merci.
Thank you, Melissa. Now, what we have found over time now is that people are in their homes, many people without much outside contact. Some of our clubs are not able to connect their members of our clubs, and they same technology skills. So for some people, getting on a virtual meeting is easy, and for others, I would like to talk to or have Melissa Cohen, who is the president of the Northside Optimist Club of Santa Barbara, talk to us about she encourage participation from membership.
Thank you, President Mark. And I do want to address one thing. I have someone, a French speaker, it's not working for, and unfortunately, I don't know French enough to actually answer her back properly. So
let me ask. Melissa, can you hold on one second? Okay. Melissa, hold on. What I did see on my screen was that the French translation had been the host. So the host, the French translation again, maybe that would be the thing. And then we'll go ahead and continue.
I have tried that, Mark, and it's not working.
Maybe we need Danielle to try it. Maybe she stopped it from in the room.
I haven't, I'm trying, Mark. I've pressed on and off and it doesn't work. We don't get the translation, and I thought it was a problem here. I asked somebody else at the other end, and they don't get the translation either.
Okay, I just pressed on it. It may not have done anything, but I did just turn on the French, so I don't know if that's changed
the
anything.
French. We get the globe. We get the thing that says French, but we can't hear the translator.
Who is supposed to be the translator?
Sylvia.
Yeah.
I sent her a chat.
And Sylvia, are you set do you have your thing set on French?
Yeah, Cheryl, I'm sure she does. What we're going to do is we're going to continue on, and we're going to hope they can work on resolving that for you. I apologize. And Danielle, maybe if you could say something in French to tell people we are working on this.
Alors, tout le monde, Marc nous informe qu'ils vont essayer de résoudre le problème de traduction.
Thank you. And I apologize. It's unfortunate, and we'll, in our afterwards, we'll see what we can do to provide a French version if we don't get this working during our session. But we want to continue because we only have a limited amount of time. So if I can ask Melissa again to talk about. Yes.
Well, thanks, President Mark. I when this pandemic started and we went to Zoom, I really realized how much of an opportunity. As an optimist, I was like, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to get our people, our members who normally were shying away from technology and provide them with an opportunity to get better at technology, to overcome their fear. I wanted to inspire them. I realized that many people were avoiding technology for whatever their reasons were. And, many people that I knew were thinking, oh, it's because of this or because of that. Well, I started reaching out, and I realized there's many reasons why your members might not want to get on Zoom. It could be that they have a fear of technology. It could be that they don't have the right equipment, or they don't think they have the right equipment, or they don't know how to use the equipment that they have. And it could be that they really just think they're not interested because they don't understand it enough. The other thing is, what many of you may not know, people can join just by phone. If they don't want to be seen, they could come on as if it's a conference call, although you do have to have a paid account in order for that to happen. The free accounts don't allow for the phone dial-in. But reaching out to people was the key. Also, when I first started Zoom, I had a little bit of fear myself because I was trying it out and I thought, I don't know what's happening on the other end. And that fear too of getting on and not knowing everything. And I'm fairly decent at computers, so I push through those kind of fears. But many of your members may not, and they may need just that little extra bit of help. And reaching out to them and finding out why is a great way to reach out and touch and see what they're doing and why they're not coming to your meetings, or why they're not hosting a meeting, or why they're avoiding any of this technology. I started doing a reach out, and I also started doing a Monday beginners Zoom play class. I call it a class, but it's a time for play, for people to just have a place to get online and not fear that they're going to be knocked out of a meeting or something. So I started that play class, but then I started reaching out to a couple of my members and who weren't doing as well on Zoom or weren't coming to meetings. One of them's 95. I reached out to him. I gave him some help, in-person help, so one-on-one help. And he told me afterwards that he was able to do a doctor's appointment because of the help I'd given him. And he wouldn't have been able to do that doctor's appointment properly. This other member of mine, she didn't want to get on at first. She didn't think she had the right equipment. I was like, you can do it by phone. She tried it by phone. It was a little challenging. Then I kept calling her to see what else. She had a computer. The computer she had didn't have a camera. And even without the camera, I'm like, we don't have to see you. You have to see us. So she started logging on with that. And then she eventually upgraded her computer, Christmas present, and I got her up to speed and working. She said she was able to have Thanksgiving with her family on Zoom because of the classes she attended and my help. This is what you can be doing for your clubs, your community members, by reaching out to them and making a difference in their lives. There's Optimist International has classes, Zoom when you go to Zoom, they actually do tutorials. You can search Google, just say, how do I Zoom? And Google will come up with different videos that people have done. And for those of you optimists out there, people are welcome to join my Monday, and I have a Thursday class. And it's really just a time to bump around. And I would love to be helping people out. So whatever you do, keep reaching out. We are optimists, and I am optimistic that we can get our members Zooming, our members engaged, and our clubs strong.
Thank you, Melissa. I think the key takeaway is for somebody in your club to be sure to continue reaching out to people who are having difficulty and help them, and find somebody who has the knowledge and the ability to help people get through this, the technology. I'm happy to say that the French translation is once again working. So Melissa, if you could make our announcement in French once more, just in case people jumped onto the English side.
Bonjour, pour écouter la réunion en français, s'il vous plaît, cliquez sur le globe en bas de l'écran. Ensuite, cliquez sur français. Merci.
Thank you. Now, I would like to bring in one of our past governors from the Alberta, Montana, Saskatchewan, and Northern Wyoming district, who will talk about not only do club meetings build relationships, but I would like him to talk about a particular fundraiser their club did that also was a fun project and brought people together. Les Trevor.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, fellow optimists. It is my pleasure to be on this committee here this morning. So what I wanted to talk to you about is one of the fundraisers that we did in our club. It's called Wine Survivor. Now, it truly is a fun fundraiser. And I'm sure some of you have heard of it, and maybe some of you have used it in other ways. But the nice thing about the Wine Survivor that we found, especially when we did it virtually, is that it engaged members and also engaged some non-members. So this is a great opportunity for, again, as Melissa said, to engage some of your members that maybe really aren't comfortable with technology, and also inviting some of those non-members in. Because non-members, if they see the Optimist group having some fun, they have a much higher probability of joining our group. At least we can ask them. And so this is the idea of the Wine Survivor, is not only to raise some money, but also to really engage your members. A little bit of background on the fundraiser itself. So the whole objective is to get 20 teams with 6 members per team. And so what you want to do is name a captain for each team, and then they go out and recruit five more team members. Now, each member, the cost of the entry fee is a bottle of wine and $20. So if you have the full slate of 20 teams, you can easily raise $2,400 for your club. And it's a great way to do it, and it's an easy way to do it. So the only thing you have to do physically is go out and buy the wine and then distribute the wine. Other than that, it can all be done virtually. And that's where the fun part is. Oh, just one thing I wanted to mention too is that I did say that you could do this fundraiser in a variety of other ways. Another way is gift cards. You could have gift card survivor. You could have your favorite beverage survivor. I believe one of the groups called it a pandemic survivor, right? So, you create it and use it the way that you would like to do it. But do engage your members. Now, the fun part of it is when it comes to the draw. And that's what to determine the winner, we do a reverse draw. And this is when you get on virtually. We did it over the course of a month. So there's lots of small meetings very frequently. So it gives those people an opportunity, once again, that may not be familiar with Zoom or some technology, to come and really get themselves a little bit of practice at going on the Zoom and enticing them to come. So what we do when we do the reverse draw is we tell a few jokes, we do a little bit kibitzing, we just have lots of laughs, and if I'm going to repeat myself, it'll be the word fun, because we want to have lots of fun with it, right? And really, really encourage those non-members who joined up on a team to come and join in on those draws also, because that's where we get to know them and they get to know us. So once the only downside of this is when your name is the first one called and you're out of the game. That's the only downside. Other than that, the winner walks away. The last person that gets their name drawn is their team is the winner of 12 bottles of wine each if you get a full slate of 20 teams. So, or whatever your 20 gift cards, whatever it may be, right? A dozen gift cards, sir. So have some fun with it. Take the opportunity to find some non-members to come and join you in your fundraisers. Get your members involved in the virtual fundraisers, because again, that's where they can really get used to technology and become a big part of the group and moving forward. So I believe that's what I wanted to cover.
Thank you, Les.
So thank you, Mark.
And I'll mention that in the field guide, Les provided some more detailed information on the Wine Survivor, as well as some other things you can do as a club to have fun fundraisers and activities. Now, one of the problems that some of our clubs have encountered is that they have found it difficult to do the usual activities in the community. But several clubs have found new ways to serve the community. And I would like to ask our Vicki Maines from Central Ontario to talk about a program where kids would have missed out on Halloween, but their club found a way to help them still have a fun Halloween. So Vicki Maines, please.
Hi, everyone. So yes, I'm thrilled to be able to share with you what happened. It was in our area in Oakville. It was becoming pretty clear that there wasn't going to be a Halloween at all in terms of a standard outside Halloween for kids. And our Junior Optimist Club for years had been running a small kind of craft and games indoor event for young children. And we thought, okay, so we need to do, as an Optimist Club, we need to do something. So we got together with the Joy Club and the Optimist Club, and we reinvented it. And we were fortunate in that we do actually meet right near the health organization for our region. So we had their involvement in terms of, providing some advice. And we reinvented it as an outdoor event in the Safety Village, where parents registered their children in half-hour time slots, a maximum of 20 children per time. And we had it set up so that there were tables, there was 12 tables, and we approached sponsors in our neighborhoods. Everything from McDonald's, who provided coupons and food items, to grocery stores who provided candy bars and the typical Halloween stuff, and even a pumpkin farm who donated little child-sized pumpkins for kids to take home and decorate, which then became a contest after the event. So everybody, all the sponsors were so thrilled to be asked to be able to provide a Halloween for children this year.
That was good.
It was awesome. And the really fun thing was to see children coming dressed up and excited and maintaining social distancing. Everybody wore masks. The junior optimists who were doing the trick-or-treating provisions all wore gloves and just put the items on the tables, and the children picked one from each table as they went throughout. It was really an incredible event. We also learned that at a lot of these type of events, we don't usually fundraise. But one of our members made a really cool, kind of typically Canadian thing. He took a tub, put it on a hockey stick, and we used the hockey stick to reach out, and parents were dropping off cash throughout the event. I should say that instead of 60 kids, we had 8 half-hour time slots. We served 160 children at that event. The children said it was their best Halloween ever. The parents were absolutely thrilled. We received emails for days afterwards about what a wonderful event it was. And when we opened the bucket at the end of the day, we raised $335, and some of them was like $50 bills. So it was a great learning experience all around and very successful. One of the very quick one was what we do is we do a lot of stuff on Facebook. Just to keep our presence in the community. We do contests, very quick contests, everything from art contests to even just show us a photo of your crazy, what do they call them, ugly Christmas sweaters. So, and they've been successful. Sometimes they're just for the fun of it, and sometimes we do e-gift cards to the winners. So those are just a couple of things that we've done.
Thank you, Vicki. Excellent work, and really nice that those children were able to have a nice Halloween. One of the things the pandemic is also very difficult on, not just our clubs, but our local businesses. And I'd like to introduce Dwight Phillips from a club in Southwest Ontario who found an innovative way to support local businesses at the same time as holding a nice community event.
Thank you, President Mark. The Riverside Club was looking at that we needed a few things. We needed a fundraiser. We needed something to do with our members, and we needed something to do that the community could benefit from. So we came up with a pop-up vendor sale. The restaurant where many of our events are at, and they donated the parking lot. They created a special takeout menu for those vendors during the day because it was a 5-hour event. The people would get hungry. The idea of these events, you rent a space about 10 by 10, the size of a normal pop-up tent, to the vendors for a sum of money. We did $25. Vendor had to supply their own tent if they wanted it, or end table and chairs. We contacted, of course, our local health unit and worked out a plan for social distancing and congestion. We only allowed 100 people inside the event at any one time. It had to be a closed loop. Foot traffic had to move in one direction. Masks, of course, were mandatory. We got to work, made the plan for the site, painted out the booth locations, all 10 by 10, then 6 feet between the vendors. We used snow fencing. Our northern states and Canada would know what snow fencing is, to divide the middle down the middle. We painted arrows on the pavement for direction of foot traffic. We actually had to count the number of people inside at any given time. We ended up with about 400 going through the event. Not as hard as it seemed because there was only one way in and one way out. We set up sanitizing stations at the start, the end, and several locations along the walkway on both sides. We had, of course, our Optimist booth there with information about who we were. There was a program that with the directory of what vendors were there and were given to all the people to take. And we actually invited one of our local Joy Clubs to come and sell water. And of course, there was no charge for the Joy Club to participate with us. The most important part was giving the vendors value for their money. We only allowed one vendor of any type of product or service. We advertised on social media, Facebook, Instagram, shared, both through our friends and families that we were there. Contact was set for one person who kept the list and received the payments, of course, that way, not everybody was collecting money. We kept advertising the event, and interest came from many small local businesses and people that run home businesses that needed opportunity to sell. The day was a great success. Club members, the host restaurant, the vendors, and members of the community at large were excited to do it again. We made about $600, which may not be a huge sum, but we also had the event that recharged our members and gave something to the community.
Thank you, Dwight. And as I've mentioned a couple of times, details about these kinds of things will be in our field guide, so you'll be able to review these at another time. Many clubs are disappointed that they're not able to do some of the traditional programs they've been running in this new environment. Makes it difficult to have in-person events. And I'd like to introduce from our South Lathrop Optimist Club in Detroit, Michigan, the president, Cheryl Thames, who will tell us about how they adapted one of their regular programs in a new way.
Thank you, President Mark, and good morning, everyone. The Southfield Lathrop Village Optimist Club has been engaged with reading literacy programs for at least 20 years, because that's how long I've been a member. And it's a big community initiative where we have a chance to go into the schools about 7 months throughout the school year and read to students. The way it works is that you sign up for what school you want to read to, what grade class you want to read to, and you get a half an hour. And this is something that we have been engaged in for a long time, as the fact that the city of Southfield had a program called Southfield Read, which actually made it even broader than just in the Southfield Public School District. When COVID came, we had to think about, what are we going to do now? We can't go back into the classrooms and talk to kids because they're remote learning. I had purchased a book because I had promised this little boy in the kindergarten class that I read to that I was going to let him help me read the next time I came. And I was just really wanting to do this. So I tried to find any daycare centers that were open. Maybe I could read to them because they all, they have now all these, little kids, even in kindergarten, they have their computer labs in their care centers. Thought that was going to work. Didn't work. The fire chief actually ended up telling me that all the daycare centers were closed at that time too. So it was kind of like, I really want to read, and celebrity reading to kids is really important to us because we're really committed to trying to help our kids, our students, our children develop a love for reading. So it just kind of came up. Well, Cheryl, now that we can't go into the schools, why don't you just read to the entire city? I was like, what are you talking about? Read to the entire city? Well, the director of communications for the city of Southfield said, we have a cable station and we can set up a reading program on the cable station. So we took Southfield Reads and we combined it with what was a celebrity reading program, and we made it a virtual celebrity readers program so that every Friday from May 22nd through the end of August, we ran virtual reading programs for 3 different age groups with celebrity readers. Those celebrity readers included elected officials, it included city employees, it included state representatives, it included the fire chief, it included librarians, of course, it included members from our club because we were the ones that were kicking this off and helping to launch this. And it was such a huge success. Rather than just being able to read for 30 minutes to about a class of 22 students, once a month from May 22nd through the end of August, we actually read to over 800 children and their families. It was a huge success, and we were able to continue to do our best to bring out the best in our youth, in our communities, and in ourselves.
Thank you. So you actually enhanced a program that you'd already been doing and actually reached more people.
Yes, we are. And they're looking. So are we doing that again next summer, Cheryl? I said, we can talk about it.
Thank you. I'd like to bring in now Mary Hatfield from Missouri to talk about how our community has different needs now, especially our schools, to meet the pandemic, to do teaching in this new environment. And Mary, please tell us about a program your club did to adapt to a new need that wasn't in the community before the pandemic.
Yes, thank you, President Mark. So our Festus Crystal City Optimist Club was contemplating how else can we serve our community. And it occurred to us that thermometers might be in great demand right now. Oh, maybe especially in schools. So we reached out to the schools in our area, and sure enough, most of the 15 schools or school districts said they needed them and welcomed our offer to provide the quality type of thermometers they were looking for. So we were able to do this. We ended up giving 2 thermometers to each of the 9 schools or school districts that requested them. And the schools were so appreciative because they were surprised by the sudden need for these thermometers. And we also, when we were making the presentations at each of the individual schools, we arranged for a photo shoot because we had to get a little marketing in there. So, of course, we were outside of the buildings wearing the masks far apart. But we took the pictures as we were handing off the thermometers to the principals or the school nurses, wrote up a press release, sent it to the newspaper and the radio station. And the newspaper did pick up on it. They published a nice article with color photos of this project. And the radio station actually interviewed our president about the project as well. And of course, we use social media a lot.
Thank you. And that's a way to just check with your schools and find out what their needs are, and other community, your first responders and things like that also have needs that you can find to serve them in new ways. I'd like to move to a different idea now. What about how we reach out to our community in these new times? People are looking for optimism more than ever, and I'd like to bring in our governor from the Caribbean District, Winston Halliman, to talk about how can we share our optimistic mindset with others.
Thank you, President Mark. My fellow optimists, with the COVID-19 pandemic came many, many concerns. We anticipated that in the 2020-2021 year, these concerns would become real issues for our clubs. It is for this reason that as leaders, we made sure to accept and recognize that there were issues facing our membership. We were mindful of the impact that the suddenness of lockdowns, job losses, corona fatigue, Zoom fatigue have on the spiritual, mental, social, and physical well-being of our members. Many of our members may have fallen one way or another into depression. Some may have sleeping disorders, and some may have even considered suicidal thoughts. Many of our stable members even have become so unstable. Even things that were previously considered simple now becomes a worry for many. With all that it is happening around us, we recognize that these are the same members that we depend on as a movement to reach out and provide hope in a strong and optimistic way to our youth and communities. So we did some introspection as to how we can help our clubs to improve their spiritual and mental thought process and be better persons and better optimists during this time. How can we help them to spread optimism within and outside of our clubs? So we concluded that it was important to focus on the mindset of our members. Yes, the mind. We believe that we are to be who we are, and that is, we must be optimists, independent of our circumstances. But this mainly can only be achieved if we have the right mindset. So I would like to share with you some initiatives we engaged in trying to get our members to adjust their mindset of concern and worry. Firstly, we adopted the district theme, Ignite, choose optimism in all our club pronunciations, and which was adopted in some form by all our other clubs. We believe that there is power in words, and words work on our minds, which can inspire hope. This simple but powerful word, Ignite, has set ablaze the thought process and has heightened the energy of the clubs. When the clubs speak or the actions that they take, it is always in keeping with the word ignite. So we now consistently hear the clubs, in the heightening of their energy level, use slogans like catch a fire, we are ignited, let's brighten up, catch a spark, we are on fire for optimism, sometimes even demonstrated in song, poetry, and dance. We believe that this powerful word ignite has helped to lift the spirit of our members. Secondly, we engage in what we call Motivational Wednesdays. For Motivational Wednesdays, members are encouraged to share a short motivational video, which is managed and produced by our social media chair and is shared across various media platforms on each Wednesday. All members and non-members look forward to an inspiring and a special word of encouragement on this day, showcasing our Optimist members, their personal experiences, and speaking to how being an optimist has helped them to pull through this challenging time. What they see here is others like themselves being able to overcome. A follow-up of this is our Testimonial Fridays. For Testimonial Fridays, it features members from all levels of the district who share their journey of being an optimist and how they have grown as they think optimistically. This short video, shared across many social media pages, encourages others and shares the life-changing benefits of being an optimist. This attracts new members and also strengthens the existing members. As we continue to encourage our own clubs to choose optimism, we will extend this opportunity to the wider population. We have gotten our head of state to proclaim Optimist Day as a day to be recognized by our members in Jamaica and across the Caribbean, and which will be open to non-optimists and is being pursued right across the Caribbean. The hope is that other optimists will join in that day and share the glory of optimism. This gives us the opportunity to engage in initiatives on that day, which will help in inspiring all our people to choose optimism, a most wanting need at this time. I leave you with this. If our members, our clubs are well, and if the minds of our members are at ease, it will help us to have better, stronger clubs, and we will be better able to serve our children, the job we are all called to do. We know that as optimists, we cannot stay down. What we do is put up resistance and work it out. Whatever comes, we will overcome. Just prepare our minds. And that's what we in the Caribbean try to do. And we try to encourage all our optimists across the different countries to share in working on the minds of all our optimists. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. I would like to see if we can play one of your Friday videos at this time. So Jen, if it's ready to go ahead. And if it doesn't work, we'll do something else. Okay, I think we'll move on. But please, on Facebook, if you look up Optimist International Caribbean District, you will find the videos that Governor was talking about, and it will be inspiring to you as even as a member or as your community members will also find them inspiring. If we get that ready to go, we'll play it at the end of the program, which is just a couple of minutes. We are past the top of the hour, but we're going to wrap up in about 10 minutes. So Cheryl, I'd like to bring you back again, our president of the South Lathrop Club, to talk about a way they did a new community event to share their optimism with others in a musical way.
Thank you so much. The Southfield Lathrop Village Optimist Club has planned at least once a year to do what we call a coupon night, where you go to a restaurant, you get like 20 to 30 or sometimes even 50% of the proceeds of what is spent as long as a person has a flyer. Well, because of the pandemic, we weren't able to go into the restaurants and socialize, but we could have had, takeouts, and then we were going to maybe, do a Zoom meeting and everybody could have their takeout and we just kind of maybe eat dinner at the same time. Didn't go over really well. We wanted to have a more personal interaction. So we said, okay, let's kind of brainstorm a little bit and do something maybe a little different. So a couple of things that were thought about was like, well, there's this movie and a dinner and a movie, people are kind of used to that. But the one example that we had, the dinners were delivered to everybody's home by a catering company, and we definitely couldn't handle that. So we kept thinking and we kept talking, and a few of our members are very connected to the owner of Petite's famous cheesecake. We said, okay, well, maybe we can do dessert and something. Well, hey, we're from Detroit. This is Motown City. And one of our well-known musicians, Randy Scott, had just been named #1 on the #1 artist on Billboard. And in addition to that, his newest album, Elevation, the #1 song for the week on Smooth Jazz Top 20 was Joyride. Everybody knows Randy because he plays at our Martin Luther King Day celebration, which always has the city celebration. I'm talking, 200 to 3,000 people. He's been teaching at Bernie K-8 for 26 years. He is the band director as well as the music teacher. And so he already has a following. I know Randy. I know his father. I know his mom. I said, well, let me see if, Randy might be available. I talked to his father, whom is his manager. He says, well, because of the pandemic, we haven't been doing a lot of shows. I said, okay, well, how about doing something virtual with the Southfield Lathrop Village Optimist Club? So that sounded like something we could do. We set a date, and we talked to Petite's Cheesecake, and he was willing to let us have people receive cheesecake, a slice of their famous cheesecake, for $5, and we would provide them with a coupon. So what we were able to do, we were able to put together this phenomenal experience where people could enjoy a concert from their own home and have a fabulous dessert called Smooth Jazz and Cheesecake. Because Randy is so well known, and because we were able to invite friends and family, we were able to reach a whole new audience and share with them, first of all, about all the things that our club does. We've been around for 41 years. We were able to talk to them about Optimist International. And then they were able to have this fabulous show where Randy performed 8 pieces, but before each piece, which is really different than going to a concert, he was able to tell the story behind each of the pieces that he shared. Afterwards, we had an afterglow where everybody in the audience had a chance to speak with him or chat and answer questions. One of the main questions that came from our club, have you ever played on a smooth jazz cruise? It was just a phenomenal evening. It was a phenomenal event. We actually have 3 new members out of this. And we are able to say that sometimes things aren't going to work out the way they have in the past, but we just need to keep moving. I'm going to say dribble. We need to maybe sometimes take a different turn, which could be maybe you want to pivot a little bit. But the bottom line is you want to go for it and take the shot. And that's what we did. And it was a phenomenal event. Smooth jazz and cheesecake from the comfort of your own home.
Thank you, Cheryl, for sharing that program. Now, going forward, one of the things we want to do, oh, good. Looks like we're able to show that video. So I'm going to show you one of the Caribbean videos that I really enjoyed. And let's see what Owen Ellis has to say. Oops.
A line from Bob Marley's Misty Morning says,
Well, it looks like I might have been jumped from the program for a minute. So we're going to skip playing the video, and we will come back to at the end as we close this program today. And somebody give me a nod if you can hear me. Jan, maybe if you can hear me, just give me a signal. Want to make sure people can hear me. Jan,
We hear
can me?
you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Sorry about the dropout, but as we think about the end of our first quarter of the 2020-2021 year, which was focused on resilience, we enter the new year with a hope of optimism, and we are going to, the theme for the quarter starting in January is happiness. And so we will be focused on promoting happiness, including the International Day of Happiness on March 20th. And to speak about that, I would like to bring our chair of the Optimist International Communications, Marketing and Technology Committee, Linda Vaught, to come and speak with us.
Thank you, Mark. Hello, everyone. I'm really excited and grateful to be here this morning with Optimist friends and friends-to-be. The reason for my excitement is that I get the opportunity to speak with positive-minded people from around the world. Activities like this Optiforum allow me to get outside of my little bubble. And I'm grateful that the pandemic has given us this extra push that we needed to reach across the country and into other countries and to make connections and to share ideas. For almost an hour, we've heard of the resilience of our fellow Optimist Club members. We've heard about their ingenuity, and we've quietly applauded their determination to make the very best out of the current situation. So we want to give you an extra push for your Optimist clubs to prove its resilience and for you to show your optimism. And I'm here to tell you how you can do that. When you received the fall edition of the Optimist magazine, you were able to read all about Optimist International President Mark Weinsoff and his dream for Optimist International. He said, we're on a mission to convert Optimist International from a service club organization to an optimistic organization that focuses on service to youth. So the Communications, Marketing, and Technology Committee read that and thought, well, we need to help make that dream come true. But how do you show optimism when the news is painting such a grim picture? How do you spark that optimism that lives within each one of us? How do you take that spark from one person and extend it to all the people that make up an entire club? Well, we thought, how about this? Let's recognize Optimist clubs for being certified optimistic. That's right. Let's have a special designation for those Optimist clubs that truly live up to the name Optimist. Certified Optimistic Optimist Clubs is an idea that is being developed around certain actions that your Optimist Club may take, especially now, to show its resilience, its gratitude, its hope, and its joy. The full program will be released at the beginning of 2021, but today we want you to know it's coming, and it's going to include such things as hosting online meetings, telling a story or sharing a photo via social media to give social proof of what good things Optimist clubs do, and a special new program that Mark just mentioned, and that is to celebrate the International Day of Happiness on March 20, 2021. So you're going to be hearing more about the International Day of Happiness from the Activities Committee in the weeks to come, but we want you to know that you heard it here at the Optiforum. Optimist International and its family of Optimist clubs and Optimist club members are looking forward to 2021 with hope and with happiness. The International Day of Happiness will be just one way that we'll demonstrate our hope for the future, our optimism. So be watching your email, your Facebook, watch the Optimist International website, magazine, hotline, and any of your other favorite Optimist Club and district portals for your field guide. It'll be coming to either the website or to your email, and that will be the written portion of this Optiforum. It will have written ideas of how to flourish during the pandemic, and it will feature the things you've heard here and more. Inside it, you'll also find out how to become a certified optimistic Optimist Club. And I know I want to be part of a certified optimistic Optimist Club, don't you?
Thank you, Linda. We all want to be. And I really want to thank all of our speakers today. And I want to especially thank you, the audience, who have joined us today to better serve your community and your members of your clubs. This is a time for resilience. It is also a time for optimists to lead the way in our communities with optimism and show that optimists can make positive change in this world, even in the face of great difficulties. So I really appreciate your time today, and I hope this has been beneficial for you. And please look forward to the field guide, which will be coming your way in a few weeks, shortly. We won't give you a time frame, but it will be soon. And we're looking forward to really seeing how you will expand your service to the community as we go into the new year of 2021. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Happy birthday, Benny.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. 39.
Birthday to you.
To you.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy birthday.